Since the dawn of time, tourists to Montreal have been trying to answer one question. Why is summertime in the city such a vibe? Today, I'm going to try to answer this question. And my answer begins here on l'Avenue de Montréal, one of the main avenues running through the Plateau neighborhood of Montreal, which, as you can see, this time of year, looks a little bit different.
A few days ago, they closed it to cars, and it's now fully pedestrianized.
So it's people walking, biking, sometimes you see scooters, skateboards, but it's a way for the locals of this neighborhood, Plateau Montréal, and the tourists to Montreal who want to experience a thriving neighborhood in the city to just take it in at a quieter, slower pace of life, to feel like the streets of the city actually belong to you. No longer belonging to traffic. It belongs to the people who get to walk down this avenue and take in the shops, take in the parks, take in the spontaneous stuff for sale on the side of the road. But enough talking about it. Let's take a little walk and I'll show you what this avenue is all about. In fact, the only people I've seen who don't enjoy this are the drivers. You sometimes see confused out-of-towners, doing 180s, pulling the car around, going like this, like, what do I do? Google Maps told me to go this way. Well, what Google Maps did not tell you, but what Dan from The New Travel will tell you is, if you come to Montreal, leave the car at home, because you have entered into one of the most walkable cities in North America. Nice little terrace up ahead. There will be more of these built over the coming weeks, I'm sure. Just to remind you, this pedestrianization has just begun. It's the beginning of June, actually. It's summer hasn't even fully begun, but it's 27 degrees Celsius today, so it feels like summer has begun. And the people are out. But for the moment,
I am feeling a bit snacky. I might see what I can find in here. Let's take a look inside.
Au Petit Paris. This place is called Little Paris. People sometimes think of Montreal as a little Paris. There is more to the city than meets the eye. But I'm gonna save this for a bit later. Maybe have it in the park. I've actually never tried that place before. There's so many little bakeries in this part of the city that, you're spoiled for choice. You can actually see them building one of the terraces up in front of me. It's funny, they're actually building in front of Videotron, which is a local Quebec internet provider. I guess the terrace season is so popular these days that even the internet guys are getting somewhere to sit in the sun. Oh, and on a more serious note, here's a cool little spot. Dépanneurs are kind of local corner shops in Montreal, but occasionally they have themes, and this one is plant themed.
Check it out.
I think once upon a time it was a convenience store. The plants have really taken over everything. Wow. But there are a few drinks over here too. Now it's basically just a plant shop. But I swear, it used to be like a convenience store with more groceries and stuff.
But yeah, as you can see, there's lots of interesting shops in this area. This place, our 33 Tours, is a very cool record shop.
I really like that place. I only stood in the entrance because I didn't want to get right in people's faces with my camera. I know that music lovers can get pretty intense. They're like, we're trying to find this record from 1968. I don't have time for you kids and your YouTube.
Here you can see a more typical dépanneur, the corner shops I was talking about. beer, wine, lottery tickets. The essentials here in Quebec.
On a more serious note, I was talking earlier about, Petit Paris and the comparisons to Paris. Given that Montreal is the largest francophone city in North America, and a lot of people visit here from places like New York City, Toronto, big English-speaking places, people often make the mistake of saying that Montreal is, a little Paris, or people here are so French. This is a very delicate distinction. People here are French Canadian and they speak French, but they would not identify as French from France, right? To make this point even clearer, check out the shop across the street. It's called Les Trois Gourmets. It says Épicerie Française, which means they're bringing products from France.
Because some people move here from France and they miss their lion caramel and chocolate cereal.
But all that to say that people from France come to Montreal, and it's not like they feel like, oh, I'm France, and vice versa. They're two distinct cultures. Quebec has been around for, what's it been, 450 years, something like that? So it would be like calling the United States Great Britain. Once upon a time it was true, but those times have passed. But I am starting to melt under that sun, so I'm gonna grab one of these Bixies. Bixi, of course, is the bike sharing system here in Montreal. I love these little guys. And I'm gonna cruise my way down the avenue, give you some nice bike shots. And then we're gonna hit the park, eat that croissant. It's gonna be fun. I remember when I was a teenager, being so excited for my first car and my first bike, all those things that were yours. Now I'm a bit older and I just love the bike sharing. I don't own a car. The few times I need a car, I use a car sharing app in Montreal called Commune Auto. I don't know, I guess my priorities have changed. Good vibes with the violin. Let's see if I have any coins. Now, in addition to the bigger parks of Montreal, they got some small chill spaces like this one. I thought about sitting there to eat my croissant, but actually there's no shade and I gotta escape that sun. So I'm going to, actually I know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. There's one more bakery I'm gonna hit and then I'm gonna show you one of the coolest parks in Montreal. Decided to show you some of the back streets here. Man, this city is a bike paradise. Such a vibe.
Okay, I just parked my bike across from the Mount Royal metro station. Interesting to notice, it's subtle. If you're not looking close, you might miss it, but there's actually a poem, Tango de Montréal, written on the side of this building. I remember when my dad visited Montreal, he pointed out, there's not many cities in Canada where you'd have poetry on the side of a building like that. Kind of a look at the artistic spirit of the city. And in front of this, we have some donuts.
So eventually I'm going to take it to that second bakery, but first, another unexpected sighting we got. I don't know what's going on here, some kind of craft fair, I would assume. I think I see books actually.
Là, c'est ça quand je lui ai dit. Merci beaucoup.
C'est des maisons d'édition, c'est différentes maisons d'édition. Oui.
So I just asked someone at one of the booths what the concept was, if they were all bookstores, and she said no, they're all publishing houses. So you can see these are like independent publishers. Yeah, that's a good thing actually, now that I think about it, that you know, there's enough small publishers in Montreal to fill a space like that.
Special of the day, $10.95.
It's a pretty good deal these days. Not many places you can eat for under $15 in Montreal in 2024. But there is one, the place I'm about to take you to. As we continue our walk, you can just, I mean, I'm not even taking you all the way, but you can get a feeling of how far this pedestrian street goes. I mean,
just look at those crowds in the distance. It's like looks like a music festival from down here. I gotta hurry up because I think this bakery closes at 3 p.m.
very unusual hours, but I think it's because this place is so popular, they sell out. Bonjour, je prends une pièce de Kouign-Amann. Oui. It's such a little place. If you didn't know it was there, you'd probably miss it. If you do have trouble finding it, it's next to the big noisy thrift shop. Check out the skateboarder just cruising. We are gonna cruise our way down to the park. One of the reasons I want to take you this way too is there's a beautiful separated bike lane which I can take as long as there aren't 100 tourists walking down it, which sometimes happens. Whoa! Just beautiful bike design on this one. I love this bike path. I just did something which is very not local Montrealer, which is actually stop just before the light turns red. Most bikers would have just cruised on through that. There's a very famous poutine spot just on this corner. If you don't know what poutine is, what are you watching this video for? Go spend the rest of your day researching poutine. Now there's a famous 24-hour spot called La Banquise, which amazingly doesn't have a huge lineup right now. Usually it's out the street. But I'm actually just gonna grab a cold drink at the Dépanneur next door. It's time for the park. And if you're wondering if this is alcoholic, yes it is. You are allowed to drink alcohol in the park as long as you have food with it. It's technically like it's a picnic law. If you have food with your alcohol, it's a picnic. If you're just drinking, well, you're supposed to buy a bag of chips or something. This is Parc La Fontaine, translating as the Fountain Park. It's actually an enormous park. I don't know why they haven't filled the lake yet. It looks pretty when there's water in there, but I'm sure they have their reasons. See if that croissant survived my journey. It was looking good when I bought it. Did I crush you? Oh no, still looking pretty good. This is when you question all your life decisions, you know? When you're sitting alone in the park, talking to your camera, eating a croissant. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just this very sweet, almost caramelized treat from the north of France. Hits the spot every time. So what is it that makes summertime in Montreal such a vibe? Can you even quantify something as a vibe? Am I spending too much time using the word vibe? Yes. It's no one thing, is it? It's just the collective experience that people are sharing, the state of mind that people have. Maybe it's that long, cold, dark winter finally ending that allows people to come out reborn again. Whatever it is, you can feel it on days like today. Now that my cider and collection of desserts is finished, I'm going to take you to another part of the city. It's just a short bike ride down the hill. Now, just so you don't think I'm just creating one giant ad for Montreal or anything, let me point out a familiar problem that every Montrealer knows about. These roads, and this one isn't even particularly bad, there's just a little crack in it, but some of them have enormous potholes, which can literally throw you off your bike. So it's like they give you these awesome bike lanes, but then they're like, well, once you're there, you may die. But it will be a nice death. In your last moments of life, you will be thinking, wow, what a great bike lane. You see that guy on the one wheel? He was flying. All right, here we go. If you're on a Bixie, always test your brakes before going down here. You don't want an old Bixie that doesn't work properly, because you're gonna get some speed, my friends. Oh yeah. And I just hope it's gonna be green at the bottom. No, it's yellow. No. Oh man, it's always a 50-50. Sometimes it's green and you just get to, you know, cruise all the way to Toronto if you have enough speed. Not today. So behind us is the village, and in front of us we're going towards Place des Arts, which I'm sure will have something going on today. This part of downtown, frankly, is, you know, still a bit, you know, rougher. A few more abandoned buildings.
Seduction. I'm surprised they don't get copyrighted by Apple for that one. I thought Apple owned the apple. Sports bar. Oh my god, it's packed. There must be... I just remembered, is this the Champions League final? I knew that was coming up. I didn't know... Yeah, this must be it, huh? Wow. I could hear some Spanish and I think Portuguese outside, you know. All the Europeans locked to the TV. All the Canadians out in the park. Now, the Canadians are watching the hockey, which is actually starting at 8 p.m. tonight. We all have our games that distract us from the cruel existence that we all live in. Wait, what? What's up, bro?
Now up ahead here is another pedestrian zone.
Isn't that right, random pink statue? He knows something's going on. Look at his eyes. Yeah, this is nice.
But to be honest, I guess most people are just chilling because that sun is hot today. I know someone watching is like 27 degrees Celsius. I'm from the Middle East, that's our winter, you know. Well, for us it's hot. Well, believe it or not, in the summer months, there often is some kind of festival for, you know, comedy or music or circus or like, there's all kinds of stuff happening in this area. I thought something might have been happening this weekend, but I guess not. There's actually a pretty cool camera shop just down the street. Maybe I'll pop in there and geek out about cameras for a minute or two. Ideally, I'd like to get a little bit wider, so I'm considering like
14 to 28.
Could be a good choice.
Yeah, this is the one that I'd use if you want to go wider.
Uh-huh.
Because like a 16 isn't going to be a whole lot wider than 20. 14 really makes a difference.
Okay, yeah, because I saw the 16 to 35.
Yeah.
Obviously more expensive. Cool. Yeah, I didn't buy anything today. I just wanted to try out a different lens. I mean, it would set me back like $1,000 if I bought that lens. It would, frankly, I should not be wasting money on more camera gear right now. But let me know, would it be cool having a slightly wider angle?
And it feels like yesterday, it was a year ago. And I don't wanna let anybody know. 'Cause everybody wants something from me now. Thank you. And I don't wanna let them down. Yeah. I had a dream. Hi. I got everything on at a degree. Thank you. When I wake up, I see you with me.
You know, when I first came down here, I was surprised that there wasn't a festival or something going on. At first I was thinking, like, what is there here, actually? But then after walking around for a bit, I think I realized, you know, sometimes in Montreal, doing nothing is the best thing. You know, enjoying some quiet places on the grass, listening to some music, taking in the vibe, enjoying the sunshine. I mean, that's really what summer here is all about. I got one more thing to show you today, though. It's a coffee shop I like to hit when I'm in this part of the town. It's a unique concept. You pay per hour, and when you come in, you get a free drink. They got snacks and stuff like that, and it's a pretty unique space. So I thought I would show you this to close out the video.